Hi, we are so overdue for a soul chat, for like a heart-to-heart, a little life update. I have so much I want to share. I've taken some notes. This is like in no order in particular. I woke up this morning, I've been feeling this nudge of needing to share lessons that I have learned recently, some exciting life updates, and some things that I feel that we collectively are going through, and a little like insight of how to navigate through difficult interactions, difficult relationships, how to apply self-love, and really honing in on loving the self, being self-aware, and some cool information I learned from Joe Dispenza about metacognition. So here are my notes so far. We're going to talk about how if something costs you your peace, it's too expensive. We're going to talk about accountability, boundaries, respect, and essentially the truth that people can only meet you at the depth that they have met themselves. In no particular order, let's just dive in. I know that, oh my God, where do I even begin with this? This is such a wonderful thing to talk about. So jumping in first to Joe Dispenza, because he is a phenomenal teacher on the subconscious. And what I have noticed also in my hypnosis work is how the subconscious plays such a significant role in our lives. So according to Joe Dispenza, when we are about 30s, 40s, around that age, we've already established so many neural pathways based on our habits, our reactions, the things that we routinely do, how we routinely respond. And basically, because of the repetition of these certain thoughts or actions, we've already kind of embedded those neural pathways. So if a situation arises, we kind of go to default mode and we behave in this way, or we react in this way. And a lot of people could feel like stuck or victim to, that's just who I am, when in reality, he introduced a term, metacognition, which is the ability to be aware of what you're thinking. And there are so many teachers that have taught about this concept. When I first started reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, he was the very first person that made me realize that I am not my thoughts, I am the person observing my thoughts. And what metacognition is the ability to observe your thoughts mid-thought. So if you're thinking negatively, or if you're finding yourself in a thought loop that is like a routine for yourself, and a majority of us have like this negative thought loop, the default mode network, when we're like replaying old scenarios, replaying, what happened in the past, playing this illusion of what we think is going to occur in the future based on situations that have occurred in the past. But when we can catch ourselves mid-thought, that is where all the magic lies. That is where the ability to rewire neural pathways and to introduce neuroplasticity and to create new neural pathways with consistency that allow us to break free of old habits, of old routines, of old thoughts that no longer serve us. Because think about how many things we think on a daily basis, which are from our childhood even, or from our adolescence, or from early adulthood, that no longer serve us. So that ability, for example, like let's say you're having a conversation with somebody and it's like an uncomfortable conversation, and later as you're evaluating and thinking back on the conversation, you're like, oh my goodness, I really could have handled this conversation so much better. There's so many things that I could have said differently, but I was noticing myself in that loop of needing to justify myself, or that ego's need to jump in and explain yourself, instead of just allowing the situation to be as it is. And how many times we give our power away to others the ability in hindsight to reflect and to be like, okay, I didn't like how that situation landed. The next time I'm presented this opportunity, I'm going to handle it differently. That is the magic. It's like we're never stuck in any situation where we have to respond in the same way. We always have the opportunity to be better. And going back to my list here, one of the major things that is so beneficial to remember, that if something costs you your peace, it's too expensive. If a situation or a relationship or a dynamic leaves you feeling deflated or constricted or exhausted repeatedly, that is something that is robbing you of your peace, of your life force. Granted, there are situations that, are humbling and are very necessary for our growth. Every situation is necessary for our growth if we choose to believe it and if we choose to view it from that perspective. But let's just say you're having a conversation with somebody and they're bringing to your attention maybe some things that didn't feel right in a prior interaction that you've had with them. That obviously isn't going to feel very good because you're going to be on the defensive. So I'm not referring to those situations of like, oh, if it feels bad, because sometimes situations need to make us feel bad because that allows us to be introspective and to understand how we can be better. Or if we hurt somebody, that is very threatening to the ego too, because the ego wants to feel superior. It always wants to feel right. But those growth moments happen when you can step back and view something objectively, not from the lens of your wounded ego, of your small, narrow, conscious mind, but sitting back and viewing it from an expansive point of view and allowing that information to like descend into one's consciousness, descend into your consciousness, and self-evaluate. Okay, I could have handled that situation differently. It really sucked to hear that, this person didn't feel comfortable in XYZ situation, but I'm glad they brought it to my awareness because now I have the opportunity to change and to choose how I show up differently. So accountability, I think, is one of the biggest, most incredible traits that we can possess, because think about how easy it is to just turn the other cheek and just act like you didn't do anything wrong, or worse, victimize yourself and gaslight the other person for bringing something to your attention or for holding you accountable. There's never any growth though when you'll find yourself in like the same repetitive loops and repetitive ruts until you have the courage to look at yourself in the mirror and identify, oh my goodness, there are so many areas of my life that I can take accountability for, or even one or two situations that I've been ignoring or pushing aside because it's so painful. But that pain is only temporary, and that pain is such an illusion because the pain is just the dissolving of one's ego. And I feel like life is one ego death after another. Growth is one ego death after another. It's like one humbling moment after another. And the more that we can embrace those moments, the more we have an opportunity to grow. And if you're in a situation where, repeatedly you're noticing that you're just leaving interactions not feeling good, not feeling like yourself, like you feel like you have to like dim your light in order to appease others, that is when we need to set boundaries. And sometimes that could be the hardest thing, because I feel like a lot of us, obviously everybody wants love, everybody wants to be loved, but the most important person to receive love from is yourself. And the most important thing is having that self-respect and that inner well of self-assurance and self-resilience of being like, okay, do I want to abandon myself? Do I want to set myself on fire just to keep this other person warm? Like, do I want to compromise my own happiness or my own peace in order to make this person comfortable? it might feel good initially because it's like the fear of disappointing somebody could be so heart-wrenching that we might find ourselves in like this repetitive people-pleasing loop. But there becomes a certain point where it's like enough is enough. And I feel like around your 30s and 40s is when that begins to kind of like descend into one's awareness, into one's consciousness of like, I am no longer allowing myself to feel belittled or to feel small. I want to be in environments that celebrate my light and celebrate my uniqueness, because there are people out there that are waiting to meet you. There's so many people out there that are waiting to love you. And so many times we keep ourselves in circles that don't reflect that back to us. There's that saying that you are the average of the closest 5 people that you have in your life. So who are we surrounding ourselves with? I think a lot of us, especially in this new year, this is the year of one, right? The year of new beginnings, are recognizing that and stepping away from the toxic environments that have been holding us back. And when you can expand your circle or even like switch environments, you begin to feel so expansive because you begin to meet people that are on your same wavelength and that share the same values, and you're no longer trauma bonding. And, you know, like conversations aren't about people, they're about ideas, they're about things that you want to create and implement. And that is the richest form of friendship that one could ever ask for, because that is where beautiful things happen when people are growth minded and optimistic and positive and inspiring and focusing on their energy, their precious energy, on being uplifting and collaborating. It's like the most fruitful, beautiful thing that I wish for absolutely everybody, because a lot of times we keep ourselves small just because maybe we're scared. Maybe we think that we don't deserve, which is the silliest thing. The feeling of unworthiness is so rampant. How many people feel just unworthy of love or unworthy of healthy friendships, when that is so important. Because when you can have a support system, even if it's just 1 or 2 friends, we notice too in life, right? We end up like in high school having like a big group of friends, and then as we get older, that circle begins to get smaller and smaller. Like, let it become smaller, let it become smaller and stronger, and have the respect for yourself to know that you deserve that. Because ultimately, people can only meet you at the depth that they have met themselves. So why do we try so hard to make a circle fit in a square peg fitting into a circle? Why do we try so hard sometimes to make people see our point of view, or trying so hard to change somebody to make them recognize our worth, when people are only going to meet you at the depth that they've met themselves? And to respect that. And as far as a life update goes, I am officially 14 weeks and 1 day pregnant, and I am just overjoyed, so grateful. Every day I wake up and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have a baby inside of me. It's currently the size of a navel orange. And I love every week just like monitoring how the growth is going. Everything so far with our appointments has been wonderful. Let it be wonderful all throughout this pregnancy. Thank you. And so it is. And it's just such a wonderful thing. Troy and I are just so grateful and so blessed. We have had 2 miscarriages previously, 4 years ago and about 6 years ago. So we are so grateful for every day that our baby is growing, and I'm feeling really, really good. People have been asking me how I've been feeling. Weeks 7 through 9, I think, were the absolute most challenging for me, simply just due to the fatigue And I know during that time, the placenta is being formed, which is so cool to think about, how that's like the only human organ that we can grow from scratch. Like, just incredible. God bless the human body, female body, like absolutely miraculous what we can do. What a gift it is. So those weeks were really challenging. It was such a weird feeling too, because thank God I have such a loving partner. I would wake up and I'd be like, I just want to sleep all day. I just have no energy. And unlike when you're sick or you have like the cold or the flu, you know what it is. Like, you know where that fatigue is coming from. And obviously I know on a conscious, right, level that I'm growing a baby. There was just something that was so difficult about surrendering to just rest and surrendering to that. But I made it through, and it was a wonderful learning experience. And yeah, week 14, I'm feeling fantastic. I'm definitely a lot more winded, having to pee like every 5 seconds. Hunger is insane. When I'm hungry, the hunger sets and it's like non-negotiable. Like, you need to have something in your mouth, need to have something in your stomach within minutes, because yeah, and hydration obviously is mucho importante. But overall, I'm feeling really good. We're feeling really blessed. We're having a baby boy, and I'm really grateful, because this time last year, what is so crazy how God works in just like miraculous ways, because this time last year, we actually had a consultation with a fertility clinic. I talked about this on my Instagram last April, and it was a recommended fertility clinic that a lot of people have had really great luck with and have had children with the assistance of. But I just had the most uncomfortable, unprofessional experience in my initial consultation. And my intuition was screaming at me, telling me like, you don't need this, you don't need this. Like, we're good to conceive naturally. I am healthy. My partner is healthy. And I just surrendered to God. And I'm like, I trust that my body is healthy. I trust that this baby is going to come in divine time. I don't want to force it. And it did. We found out in early February that I was pregnant, and it was beautiful. We conceived naturally, and there was no like militant, strict schedule that we were on prior to conceiving. When we were trying to conceive, it was like, okay, being very cognizant of my ovulation cycles and just having fun and making it romantic and fun, and not putting the pressure on either of us, you know, because I feel like it's important that way. That's just our experience. So I'm very grateful. And yeah, I haven't thought of any boy names. Haven't gone that far yet. Every name that I hear, I'm like, no, just haven't really quite figured out where I want to go. But I know that it's going to align in divine time, as it has already. So yeah, so I'm really grateful for that. And that's the major life update as well. I am also opening up my schedule to soul counseling. I am a QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis technique practitioner. And in addition to that, I am offering a service of soul counseling. So if you would like some guidance or just someone to talk to, my services are open and I'm here. Let me know if you're interested. Send me a message or a DM, and I'll be happy to work with you, to speak with you. And ultimately, my goal with working with everybody is to help you remember your light, help you remember who you are, help that passion be reignited within you, because we are all here to be expressions of the divine and to be our authentic, truest selves, to not be like anybody else, because there's nobody else that can do what you can do. And my mission in life and my goal in life, and what lights me up and what gives me the most happiness, is seeing that light be reignited in somebody, the people that I work with. So if that calls to you, I am here. Let me know. But until then, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this expansive and informative, and I love you so much. Bye. Allowing this message to reach everyone that it is meant to. May this open the hearts and minds of everyone listening, the highest truth and divine light. So it is. Okay.